and welcome back to my channel. So apologies in advance if I have to keep sipping water. It's almost like the second that I think I'm going to talk for any length of time, I end up with a dry throat. So apologies for that. So I wanted to make this video off of the back of my Instagram page, and also just based on where I'm at currently with my spirituality. If you've followed my channel for a while, then you'll see that obviously I haven't posted any content for quite some time. Now the reason for that is just because I haven't really been getting involved in my spirituality. It's kind of taken a massive backseat because I had a baby, which, you know, is absolutely fine, but I feel now that I'm coming back to that point where I can have a bit more free time for myself, and also I feel ready to sort of re-immerse back into my spirituality. I thought it would be handy maybe to share some sort of tips, or even just maybe explaining the things that I'm doing to get back into my spiritual path. Now, it has always been a part of who I am, and it's not as if just because I had a child that part of me completely changed. It's always been there, it's just that I haven't actively practiced. So I've made a few notes on my trusty Pete's Dragon paper, which is a very swish. So yeah, I just thought I'd share this with you as it might be helpful. This sort of information I think would also be helpful to someone who's looking to get started, because I kind of feel like when you take a break from paganism or from your spiritual path, it's kind of good to sometimes go back to where you started. And that's not to say that you've forgotten everything that you knew before. It's more just that actually going back to and starting again is probably a good way to refresh and to sort of get back into it. So on that point, my first note that I made was go back to books. So most of us have some really good books that we read, or that were what inspired us, or initially was what led us to think that we were on the path that we were. So that would be the first thing that I would recommend, and this is one of the first things I'm going to do. I never did a huge amount on the Sabbats. It was always something I felt difficult to connect with, but it's something that I've always wanted to get into. So I bought this book some time ago, and this is obviously called Sabbats by Eden McCoy, and it's a really good book. It's got all sorts in it. It's got obviously a breakdown of what the individual Sabbats are, recipes that you can make at that time of year, how you can celebrate it in today's society, how it's seen, music, rituals, everything. So this is a really good book, and it's actually a really good book if you're getting started as well, because it's quite informative, but it's not like a ridiculous amount of information that you can't digest, if that makes sense. It's not like mega thick. There are also some other books that I really like, which I have read before and will reread, such as, more specific for me, the Stephanie Woodfield book on the Celtic lore and spellcraft. I think it is something like that anyway, of the Dark Goddess, the Morrigan. So I'm going to reread that. I've also got a couple of Scott Cunningham books that I read. I am not Wiccan, but I still like to read the Wiccan books because I still think they provide a good amount of information. And I think for most people, Wicca is where you begin, or it's certainly the first thing you hear about when it comes to the spiritual community anyway. So the second thing is to set a space. This could be a candle and a picture, or it could be a whole full-blown altar. But I do feel like having a space, while you don't need one, having a space does sort of give you that visual reminder, that visual to prompt you to sort of, even if it's just take a minute by your altar every day to give thanks, or, you know, whatever it may be that you're using to dedicate either to a deity or even just to yourself. I feel like having a space like reinforces that, and it just helps you to go, okay, yeah, I do need to maybe do something every day, even if it's just a giving thanks or an offering, or, like I said, a moment for yourself. And on the point of taking a moment for yourself, meditation. Meditation is a very easy way to, well, I say easy, not easy to actually practice, but easy to do, in the sense that, you know, everyone has to go to bed. If you took 1 minute every day to meditate before bed, then that would be enough. to say that you have done something to meditate. Meditation is how we learn to switch off, it's how we relax, there's so many health benefits to meditation regardless of spiritual practice. I mean, you know, Google it for you get about 1 million different things that it's good for, and yeah, reasons why you should do it. So yeah, absolutely go for it. Meditation is going to be so beneficial. It's a good leading in way to ritual. It's a good way to connect with whatever it may be, your spirit guide, your deity, or just to sort of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just to sort of connect with your own inner voice, that subconscious that we switch off, that gut feeling, you know, just a way to help you learn to relax even, so that when you do come to do something in your practice that you already can go to that place of relaxation quite easily. Meditation daily is obviously ideal, but if not, just as often as you can. Like I say, a minute before bed every day really would be easy enough for anybody to do. So I'm just referring back to my list, and I've took my glasses off, so that was the other thing I was thinking of. Yeah, so one of the things I think that people feel is that you, in order to be spiritual or to be pagan or to follow a path, you have to have like this elaborate great big ritual for everything, whereas you don't have to do that. A walk itself just down the road can be spiritual, that can be meditative, it can be a dedication. It's how mindful we are with everything that we do. Adding mindfulness into every day is something that we can all do and can be used as a form of dedication, and a wonderful way to, again, add that extra practice into our everyday life. You know, this can be, and that was kind of my next point really, was adding magic into simple tasks. That can be things such as cooking. So when you're stirring, you're pushing in, you're visualizing good intent into your food. You know, you're feeding your family, that's good for everyone. That's happiness, it's positivity, it's nourishment, everything that you know, all the good things that you put into it. You know, it could be stirring your cup of tea. Whenever I stir a cup of tea, I do it out of habit now, I think, more than anything else, but I always think, you know, stir it clockwise and stir in that positive energy so that anyone drinking that tea will have nothing but good feeling. I mean, we're all, well, most people, I guess, that's watching my channel are British, and as I am, and as you know, the Brits love a good old cup of tea. It cures all. So yeah. And yeah, cooking, anything like that, you can practice mindfulness in absolutely everything. Again, I will do a video on it separately, but you can, there's a lot of research you can do on mindfulness, and a lot of people that you can follow that practice it regularly, and lots of tips and tricks and all the rest of it. So yeah, so other points that I've got were to do research, speak to others, or maybe even join a group. I recently joined or went to a pagan meetup which is called a moot, which was actually really nice because it gives you the opportunity to speak to other people. It can be very daunting, obviously, meeting people that you don't know, and obviously you should be safe in all of that. But meeting new people and meeting people who have knowledge that's different or greater than yours, whilst intimidating, is amazing, because, you know, the Druids, everything was passed down through spoken word. Nothing was ever written. You know, we can pick up about 1 million different books today, and that's all well and good, but actually learning from elders and learning from people who have, you know, practiced these paths for 15, 20 plus years, they're the people that really have the knowledge. They've done the work, they've got the experience. So these are all really good ways to get into it, by listening to other people's stories, taking on guidance. You know, you don't always have to be the one that knows everything. You don't always have to be the one that has all the knowledge. And yes, it makes you feel vulnerable, maybe to feel like maybe you don't know as much as these people do, but really that's not a bad thing. And admitting that, I think it's more annoying to people when you pretend you know everything and you don't. Or, you know, you lose a bit that validation then if you constantly, you know, are pushing to have this persona that you know everything. It's nothing to be ashamed of, absolutely nothing at all. I, by all means, do not know everything. To be honest, I probably don't even know a fraction of it. no one will ever know everything. It's too vast of an area, and there's nothing to say that what one person gets is right and the other one's wrong. This is a very individual path for us all. So, but certainly speaking to others and having that community can help sort of inspire you. I think as well, sometimes it's quite easy to, things to become stale in the spiritual community, because you're practicing the same thing all the time, especially if you practice alone. If you don't get the validation you need, or you're very new at it, it can become easily to sort of, you doubt what you get in your meditations, or you doubt your readings, or it just becomes a little bit of a haze. It's nice to have that community to fall back on, to then actually inspire you to carry on and to keep looking into things. So the last thing that I wrote down, which I think we should all do every day anyway, is ground, cleanse and balance. So grounding obviously speaks for itself. There's so many ways you can do this. Goodness me, a piece of paper is trying to fly at me. Grounding, so you can visualize roots. I've got a video about grounding on my channel, which I am hoping to re-record, because upon listening back to it, my phone buzzed twice and it really pisses me off. So it's on there for now because I haven't recorded another one, but when I do, I will delete that one. You can use grounding foods, vegetables, fruits, well, not so much fruits, but like your root veg, you can use to help ground it. Again, sort of pushing in that intent, and using your mind to sort of really feel the energy of the foods that you're making, and when you're putting it into your food, and cooking, and just really like enforcing your intentions basically. You can use grounding oils. You can make oils from like a numerous amount of different herbs. Again, there's probably lots of recipes. I'll maybe do one if people are interested. Yeah, just sort of taking that time to actually put your feet on the earth. So go into your garden, barefoot, just put your feet into the ground, feel the earth's energy, feel yourself completely solid on that floor. And yeah, just take the time to just completely connect. It's so important that we remain grounded, because if we sort of all off over the place, you're just sort of off with the fairies, and things become very sort of disorientated and very much all over the place and scattered, and yeah, that's not ideal, especially for spiritual work. The other thing I mentioned was cleansing and balancing. Now you can do a lot of this at the same time. Cleansing, I like to use good old bit of sage. I'm sure everyone's seen sage, let's be honest. It's not exactly a new thing, is it? But yeah, a bit of sage, light that, waft it over yourself. You can also do cleansing bath. This I think is a really nice way to do it. I do like a bit of sage, I'm not going to lie, because I do. I think you can really see, but I mean, yeah, like I said, everyone knows what bloody sage looks like. It's not really a new thing, is it? Not new by any stretch of the imagination. It's probably one of the oldest methods of doing it ever. But yeah, so cleansing with sage, ritual bath. You can use crystals in your bath. So picking your root chakra typed stones, your red jaspers, your carnelians, that kind of thing, that's really going to sort of ground you. Ambers, I mean, obviously always look at what you're putting in a bath, because there's certain crystals that you can't put in water because they'll dissolve or they become toxic, that kind of thing. So do your research. But that's a good way to ground and cleanse even. So if you wanted to do a chakra bath, you could in fact put one of each of your crystals of your chakra points into your water. And if you can, sort of fully submerge yourself, that's a good way to cleanse. Washing away all of the impurities or any negativity, anything that's attached itself to your aura. Visualize that going down the plug hole. And again, with balance, that's really, in my eyes, I would do crystals, using different crystals on your chakras, spending some time visualizing all your chakras flowing, in the right direction, that kind of thing. So yeah, this is kind of like a rambly video, I suppose. So I'm not so good at the old recording stuff yet, but it's, well, relatively new to me. I've kind of recorded stuff on and off now for quite a while. Hopefully the video is helpful. It's just, I kind of think it's nice to share. I love the community that's on YouTube, and I love the community that's on a lot of the social media platforms now for pagans and women as well. I feel like watching a lot of these videos, you know, women are really sort of coming together, and that's to not disregard men at all, because obviously you know, we're all part and parcel of the same thing. But, you know, especially for women, it's nice to see everyone sort of rallying together and really building a community where it's nice to share and safe to pass on information, and, you know, just do what the ancients did, build a community and pass on, you know, information between us. So if you're still with me 15 minutes in, thank you for watching my video. Apologies for my rambling. And yeah, if you have anything that you would like me to discuss, or you have any books or anything that you think actually that would be really cool to see a review on, if I've got them, then I will happily get involved. So yes, thank you for watching.